Hello, parents. Welcome back for our third episode. We are so happy to have you here today. My name is Julie Gu, and I am our Coordinator of Innovation, Teaching, and Learning.
Hi, my name is Misty Klusner, and I am the Digital Innovation TOSA at the Campbell Union School District.
I'm Tiffany Spalding. I am a literacy coach for the district.
My name is Trevor Walker. I'm the IT Director here at Campbell School District.
Hi, I'm Rosanna Palomo. I'm the Director of Student Services for Campbell Union School District.
Hi, I'm Leah Adams. I'm a school counselor at Blackford Elementary School.
Hi, I'm Casey Bowman. I am a counselor at Monroe Middle School.
And we are so thrilled to have Leah and Casey share some strategies about helping our students through the social emotional learning pieces of distance learning. Leah?
Well, parents, I know that it's been a rough couple months. We've all been in it with you, and it's really tough to do school at home during a pandemic. So I first just want to acknowledge that we're all in the same boat, and we know it can be really tricky. It's hard for the students, it's hard for the parents, it's hard for the teachers. So I'm hopeful to share a few tricks that you can use at home to help with that, especially for the elementary students that might be feeling frustrated or fed up or getting really worked up over being in the same place every day, trying to learn in this new format. So a few tips that I have for you are, first of all, that everyone has feelings and they're okay. So whenever we have a day that's not going great, it's important to let students know that that's all right. It's okay to have a day that's harder. It's okay to have a day that they're feeling a little off. And then there's things that we can do about it. So when I work with elementary students, I really like to use visuals because it helps them to sort of figure out how they're feeling, even if they can't tell you. So even something as simple as a feelings chart, where they can point to how they're feeling, or you can point out for them, hey, it looks like today you're feeling really annoyed. Let's do something to help you with that. So having something simple that you can just print off of Google ready. And then I usually do some deep breathing with them. So we just work on taking big, deep belly breaths to help calm our bodies and our brains. And that just brings our brains down so that if we're feeling some big feelings, it helps bring us back to a place where we can get under control. And there's some really great visuals on just Google. If you Google different things where you can have students trace as they breathe, and that kind of helps, especially our little students, control their breathing so they're not taking short breaths, but nice, big, deep breaths that help our brain. And finally, one thing I would recommend is just having a set routine. So every time they're feeling upset or frustrated, we practice together what to do, and it's the same every time. So every time I feel frustrated, I know that I can go to a certain spot, or I know that I can do a certain activity that's going to help me, and that's going to bring my feelings back into a place where I can learn. When I work with students, I just have a nice basket that has calming activities in it. So that's something you can do at home. Most of these are from the dollar store, to be honest, just things for them to squeeze, maybe if that's helpful for them, or things that they can trace or draw to help with breathing. Things like marble mazes or things that help their brains kind of take a break from whatever they're doing. And having a basket ready to go that they know this is what it's for can be really helpful. So having that at home and then practicing with them, when I feel frustrated, here's what I do. And doing that when they're in a place where they're calm first, so they know that routine and they can practice and get used to it. Then when they're actually feeling frustrated, rather than learning a whole new procedure, they know what to do, they know where they can go, and they know they can bring that feeling down and get back to learning.
Sorry. I want to just piggyback what Leah was saying. I think front-loading students and doing teachable things when everybody is calm and when we're not at a point of frustration and we haven't reached our max is really important. It's very difficult to talk to a child who is extremely frustrated, is not in the space to where they want to think things through or use any of the calm down techniques. Sometimes it's better just to give a break, put on an upbeat song, maybe take a walk outside, have a snack, and revisit that later. But I think it's the front loading that is so important for parents, is normalizing all of the feelings, letting students know, especially in middle school, that we are all built to house all the feelings, sometimes even at once. It's okay to feel sadness and happiness all in the same space. It's okay to be frustrated and excited all at the same time. You don't have to commit to one feeling or the other, but the best thing to do is to try and feel balanced so that you can make the best decision that you can in the moment to meet expectation and feel good about your day. And that going through all of this is very, very challenging. So as a parent too, kind of noticing and stepping back and kind of looking at what are the triggers, what are the most productive times of the day for my student, what times of the day are posing the most problems, and seeing what is kind of factoring in. Could it be nutrition? Could it be sleep? Could it be the lack of movement? And if it's any of those things, then maybe trying to incorporate discussions and routines around that. I know for middle schoolers, the screen time has been a big concern. They're also having their free time on screen time and then their academic time on screen time as well. So maybe discussing what the appropriate times during the day would be if they were on a device for fun. And also balancing that with outdoor activity, a dance party in the living room, or doing a family board game. Different things that students can do outside of being on technology can give them a little bit of a brain break, but also know that that's something that is a preferred activity and is still going to be built into their week, just not all the time. I do want to loop back a little bit to sleep. A lot of baseline mental health is based on the amount of sleep that we have. And if we are sleep deprived, it is very challenging to cope. So as a parent, kind of monitoring that and looking at that as a really critical piece for a middle schooler is, are they getting enough sleep? Noticing what the mornings are like, as our schedule is built primarily in the morning hours. And the block schedule is definitely different for endurance. So teachable moments in that case too, about having a timer, knowing exactly when your breaks are, using your lunch period to really unwind, disconnect, do something fun that's not on technology, that's quick, and also get that nutrients for lunch so that you can just power through that last block of the day. It's been a challenging time. I think that the socialization has been very hard, so we encourage you to read the school bulletins and look into whatever activities your campus is offering for that socialization. Hang in there. We're all going to get through this. And remember, it's the little things. So find out whatever works for you and your family and do your best to implement them whenever possible.
Okay, so our next question is actually going to build beautifully on what Leah and Casey were just sharing. And this one is, how do you support your students who are reluctant to join Zoom? So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So I think the very first thing you need to do is investigate why. Sometimes we assume, we think we know what's going on when really it's something we never considered. So talk to your child about when they're calm, when they're in a good space, kind of plan ahead, maybe have them choose a time that feels good to them, and just sit down and have a conversation about what's going on. And don't stop at the first answer they give you, like keep probing. Follow up with 5 more whys. You know, why is that? Why is that? Or tell me more. And just kind of take notes and get as many details as possible. And sometimes some natural solutions will come out of that, probing into why they're feeling that way. Then something that may come out of that is they may not understand why they're joining these Zoom meetings. So just some talking points to help you negotiate them understanding that purpose. For why they're doing it. It is their core instructional time. It's also building that social connection to help them with the social isolation that they're currently in. And building that classroom community is really important for everybody. So that might help you kind of talk to them about the whys. Another tip is just creating the right learning environment. If there are a lot of distractions in the background, that can cause problems for students. Our brains can only handle and process so much at once. And so if there's a lot happening around them, their brain may have a hard time filtering on what the most important thing is at that moment. So we, as when we're in the classroom as teachers, we think a lot about how we have all kinds of learners and making sure we have quiet spaces to work, and we have spaces where students can collaborate with a partner quietly. So thinking about that at home is now important. So you may need to be thinking about what kind of background noise is happening. Is there, is the TV up really loud, or is it near where the students can see it and they're distracted by it? Is there music playing? Sometimes students, and again, you'll have to ask your student how they feel about this, but don't like seeing themselves on Zoom. And so you can show your student how to turn off that self view where they can see everyone else and everyone can see them, but they don't see themselves. And so the way you do that is by right-clicking they would right-click on their image in the Zoom window. And to right-click on a Chromebook, you can tap with 2 fingers on the trackpad, use a 2-finger click. You can also hold Alt, A-L-T, and click on the image. And that will make it so that they can turn their self view off. So that might help with their environment. If all else fails, you might need to resort to some sort of behavior chart. If that helps, I would clearly define the goals in advance. So, if it's that they're going onto Zoom without a reminder, great. If it's that they're going onto Zoom without that reluctance or that pushback, and then start with a small number of accomplishments before the reward, and then slowly increase. I mean, ultimately, you don't want those extrinsic rewards driving what's, the behavior. And then decide on the rewards with the students. It should be something that they're looking forward to, and free rewards are best. So you heard some ideas about like playing a game, family game time, or a dance party in the living room. All of those are fun ideas that don't cost anything. So it doesn't have to be anything really big, but maybe just a little extra screen time for fun. Yeah.
Hi, parents. I just wanted to echo what everyone has shared this morning. I think it's really important that we communicate. We are partners with you. I know that we're not physically together, but we are together. And similar to what Leah shared, that we are in this together. And we want to make sure that we are able to support you in any way that we can. I think what's really important when kids do get stuck, when they are frustrated, because we've all had those moments during this time in shelter in place, that we are able to have somebody to talk to. And I think just knowing that if you or your child are struggling, if it's hard to get your child to open up, also know that we have supports at schools. Our partner agencies such as Uplift, such as Cassie, have been instrumental in helping us support children, our students during this time. So I just want to make sure that that you are aware that we do have supports at schools. It's important to communicate with your child's teacher, with your child's principal, and if there's something that's happening that we should know about, and ways that you need support to support your child, please know that we have those resources available. So it's always important to communicate with the school. Like as I shared, we are partners in this. We meet with them in the normal school day. We're with our kids 6 hours a day, and then they go home to you, and then they come back to us. And so it's important that we are working together in order to support our kids. And so I just wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that there is support, and if you need it, just contact your school's administrator or your child's teacher.
Hi, so one of the other questions that we got from you all was how you can monitor your students' work. So what's been turned in, what's coming up, So there's a couple of different ways depending on the platform your teacher uses. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you what it looks like. So the first platform that your teachers might be using is Google Classroom. With Google Classroom, you might have been invited by your child's teacher to get basically a summary email from them. And with Google Classroom, you can get a daily or a weekly summary. You would get to choose. If you haven't received this, you can always email your student's teacher and see if if they're using this feature or not. Some teachers are, some teachers aren't. But with an email summary, what you get is basically just a little snapshot into what's happening on the classroom. So you will see any work that is missing. So that means that all that means is that hasn't been turned in. Please keep in mind that even if a child has turned in work, it doesn't necessarily mean it's complete. It just means that they clicked submit on Google Classroom. So you'll still want to check in with your child to maybe see what work they actually are completing. You can also see any work that's upcoming. So if there's any work that's been assigned in Google Classroom that's not yet due, you'll be able to see work that's coming up. And then any posts or questions or announcements that have been shared by the teacher on Google Classroom. So that's one platform if that's a tool that your student's teacher is predominantly using. If they are using Seesaw, there's a couple of ways. So the first thing you can do is if your student is logged into their Seesaw account, so the actual student account, when you go to the activities, so work on Seesaw is pushed out through a platform called Activities, which is right here in the middle. In Activities, you can see now there is a to-do, an in progress, and a done. So you can easily see in the to-do what work has been pushed out to your child, but have not yet submitted. In progress means that they've started it, right? But they maybe haven't finished it yet, and done are the ones that have already been completed and they've been submitted to the teacher. So through the child's platform on Seesaw, that's one way to kind of check in and see. You can also look at the calendar as well. This is just a practice account, so I don't really have that much on here, but on the calendar, you're going to see where different activities will pop up that are coming up for your student. Whenever they've been assigned, they will show up on that calendar. So this activities tab is really helpful. As a parent, if you have the actual Seesaw Family app, which is a separate account, you can see everything your student has posted in Seesaw. So anytime they've submitted work, you will see those completed activities on there, along with anything the teachers has posted. You won't be able to see any other things from any other students, but you will be able to kind of monitor what your student has posted along with what the teacher has. But if you want to see things that maybe are coming up or that may be missing, then going into your actual student's account is the best way to do that. But in the end, the best way to figure out how to monitor your students' work would probably be to contact your child's teacher and ask them if they have any suggestions, because I know a lot of our teachers are using different platforms depending on what the task requires the student to do. So you might need to monitor both. And some teachers are really using a collection of different things. So they might suggest maybe using PowerSchool because they're really good about, or that's their main communication piece for submitting notes to students and parents on keeping track of what's been submitted and what hasn't. So Classroom has email summaries. Seesaw, you can check and kind of see what's going on. But in the end, your best bet's probably, if you're not sure, is to contact the student's teacher and see what they would suggest.
All right, so from the IT side of things, we got a couple of questions this week about what do I do with my Chromebook if it's freezing up at home or if it's locking up, and then what are some ways that I can help my student limit screen access or screen time on the device. And so we're gonna talk a little bit about that today. I'm gonna share my screen out here. So the best thing that you can do to fix your Chromebook if it's freezing up or locking up is to perform a reboot on the computer. Why is that? Chromebooks and computers typically do better when they've been reset relatively recently. That's when they pick up their configuration changes. It's when they pick up their updates. So if it's been a while for your computer, since your computer's been updated, we highly recommend that you do that. We've put together a series of videos from the IT team about how to troubleshoot your computer what are some keystrokes that you can do to reboot your machine. And if you visit this URL, tinyurl.com/CUSD-Chromebook-shortcuts, that's going to take you right to the section about restarting your computer, when you should do it, why you should do it, and the keystrokes needed to do that. So definitely make a habit of restarting your computer. It will make your performance better. If you're having any weird, hard to diagnose issues, that's the first step that we're going to do to troubleshoot. If you notice that you're having an issue on your Chromebook when you're using an external device, definitely try unplugging that to see if the problem persists. We've seen some issues before with so-called peripherals like external monitors, external keyboards, headphones that cause weird issues. If you have that particular peripheral that's causing a problem, if you can let us know, we can sub out that unit, get you a different one, or a whole new computer by itself. We've noticed that if you start looking for troubleshooting information for Chromebooks online, many websites will tell you to power wash the Chromebook. Power washing a Chromebook does do a lot. It can actually fix a lot of the problems, but all of our devices are enterprise managed, which means Campbell School District owns them. And if you power wash them, it'll actually take it back to a blank configuration, and the device will not be usable unless a Campbell USD technician re-enrolls it in our environment. So even if it's successful and even if it does fix the issue, the Chromebook will still be unusable. So what we're recommending, if a simple restart does not fix the Chromebook, or unplugging the peripherals does not fix it, definitely submit a ticket over to our tech help team. The URL is shared over here, techhelp.campbellusd.org. We have accounts in tech help now for all students, grades TK through 8, so you can sign in with your student credentials. The student credentials are available in the PowerSchool Parent Portal, and you can submit a request, and we will be in direct communication either with your student at the middle school level, at the elementary school level. We also have a field for parent email address, and parents will be CC'd on all the conversations for elementary school in case you need to help your student troubleshoot and apply a fix. So definitely look at that. For the question regarding screen access and screen time, limiting internet access at home, there's a recently coined phrase, and if you're not familiar with the name, you're probably familiar with the concept. They call it zombie scrolling syndrome, right? It's this mindless, endless consumption of media. And people outside the industry don't really realize that web design is just as much a product of psychology as it is programming. These websites and these platforms, light turned off. These websites and these platforms are really built to elicit one more click out of you. They're designed to coax you to watch one more video or like one more story. And everyone, both kids and adults, we have to work hard to build good habits of intentional device use. And so one of the ways that we can do that for our students and ourselves is to look at the internet filtering options that are available to us from our internet service provider. So we've done a little bit of legwork. We have found the Comcast support page for setting up parental controls at home. It's called tinyurl.com/CUSD-Comcast-controls. And in there you can determine how you want to filter your internet at home. Maybe you whitelist your devices for all hours, but maybe you block student access after 7 p.m. Right? You can limit devices based on time, or internet based on time. You can limit internet based on devices. Comcast gives you a lot of that configuration option. So we highly recommend, if you have Comcast as your home internet service provider, consider looking at some parental controls. AT&T does a very similar thing through their Smart Home Manager program. If you visit tinyurl.com/CUSD-ATT-controls, that'll take you to the website to where you configure your AT&T home internet filtering. But definitely consider adding some filters as a way to cut that access to students, to make sure that they're not spending too much time in front of their devices. One other recommendation we have is consider setting up a docking station for your Chromebook away from the kids each night. So if your student is tempted to use a device after you've asked them not to, consider putting a docking station in your bedroom, so the student wouldn't be able to have that temptation at night. To say nothing of the fact that your computer will be charged every morning by having that docking station set up there. So definitely keep that in mind. both from a consumption perspective, but also, right, we know that all devices emit blue light. And blue light can strain your eyes and decrease melatonin secretion, and both of those can lead to funky sleep rhythms. So definitely avoid screens at least 2 hours before bedtime to get the most restful sleep. And again, these home internet filters will help you cut down on that extra student use and really focus on that intentional use of your computers.
Great. And finally, we are excited to share with you a new program we're starting called our Campbell Wonder Wednesdays. We are going to be kicking off this series on December 2nd as we have a guest speaker from the Google CS First team to do an hour of code with us. And we are really designing this series to be a place to spark curiosity and interest on a wide variety of topics. And we highly encourage you to tune in with your student to be a collaborative learning experience. And if you are interested in being a guest speaker for one of our upcoming Wonder Wednesdays, we will have a link in the description of this video where you can sign up to host one of these Wonder Wednesdays. We are so excited. We have a few parents already interested. One parent will be doing a drumming session and making music at home. We'll also have a tour of our CUSD central kitchen to see how lunches are made, and families can learn how to make lunch at home as well. And we just want to thank all of you for joining us today, and we will see you next month. Thank you.